Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Drupal course now. After a marathon DDCDP, which actually involved a lot of prerequisites of Drupal, but today we are going to start Drupal and it's day 1. So we have to cover a lot of basics of Drupal, some terminologies of Drupal which normally is called Drupal Speak. We will also cover what Drupal entities are, what are bundles, which are actually subtypes of entities. Then the nodes entity, actually this is node. Taxonomy subsystem also taxonomy entity, the uses, blocks, these are all entities in Drupal, and then something called field API which adds extra fields to these entities. We will cover field API in detail. We will also create some fields and explain what field widgets are and what field formatters are, and we also will learn what view modes are, which is a very powerful concept in Drupal to display the same entity via different modes or different styles. So we have got to cover a lot. Let's dive in. So firstly, I need to congratulate you on reaching the Drupal milestone. It has been a lot of journey for you, and thanks for your patience throughout the course. I personally am really excited to teach you Drupal now. You have got all the base and foundation, and inshallah ta'ala you will have prosperous careers in Drupal. So let us start with installing Drupal first. Drupal can be installed in a lot of ways, but as we have been using ddef, we will install it using ddef. So if I go to, or maybe just in Google you type ddef cms quick start, and then just search for Drupal. So you will end up on the Drupal screen. Drupal 11, now even there is a Drupal CMS version. You can install Drupal CMS also. Drupal 10, Drupal 6, 7 and so on. But we will install Drupal 11, which is the latest Drupal version, and we will be working on Drupal 11 core. So what we need to do is we need to create a directory and then cd into that directory. I'll zoom it in for you, okay? But I already have created this directory, so the name of it is first. I'm inside a ddcdp Drupal directory, and here we will have all the Drupal sites. This one is the first, so I will open it in terminal. Okay, next we will use ddef config -- project type equals Drupal 11 and doc root is web. So we'll copy it. My version of ddef is a bit older, that's why I will need to add some extra value to it, but you can, if your ddef is latest, you can simply run this command. So ddef config project type is Drupal 11 here. By default I will just specify Drupal, so this will work also, and -- php version equals 8.3, that's it, and now hit enter. So the next command now is, this is composer command, and you know what composer is now through Symfony, because we extensively used composer in Symfony course. So we'll run ddef composer create Drupal recommended project 11. So it will download all the code related to Drupal 11. So ddef, sorry, Okay, so it has downloaded all the files for Drupal. The next step is we need to, I will leave it here. The next step is we need to install Drupal. The files have been downloaded, but the installation process has not yet been run. We'll do it in the second demo, the other steps, but I will start it with this. If I just ddiv launch, so it will open this site in the browser. Okay, this is actually what I wanted to demo. Once you download the files through Composer, and if you open that URL in the browser, if Drupal has not been installed, so initially it will end up on this screen, installation screen. Okay, so what this installation screen will do, I will open this code base in VS Code, also open folder. This is the site, and I will open it. So if you go to web, all of these files have been downloaded by Composer for us. So if you go to web, sites, default, so here we have settings.php and settings.ddiv.php. so it has these details already, db host. This is what added by ddiv. So basically these credentials are not needed, but you may be, if you are on some hosting server where these credentials have not been populated, so you will have to add these also, but ddiv has added these automatically. Okay, so this is the default username, password, host, and all these. Okay, so if I just choose the language, because Drupal is a multilingual application, you can install even in Urdu, Pashto, or whatever, Arabic, but it is going to be in English. Save and continue. Okay, Drupal has something called installation profiles. So you can create installation profiles. You can let Drupal choose one of those profiles to install Drupal, but we will leave it as standard for now. And then you can see the database setup has been skipped because those settings are already in ddiv. Otherwise, if they were not there, we would have to manually enter it in the setup database section. Okay, the site name is ddcdp1, and I will give my email address here. Username is admin, and password is 123456. Okay, this is the account maintenance username. The user, there will be a user table, and this user will be inside that particular user table, who can log into the system and do various tasks. He will be the administrator of the site. And time zone is Karachi, and save and continue. So congratulations, Drupal has been installed on for our first class, right? So this is the new Drupal installation screen. If I go back to this install, we will do it now the second way also, so that you know how to quickly set it up. I will leave this site as it is and create a new folder and call it ddcdp1, or maybe ddcdp, rename ddcdp Drupal1. The name is a bit long now, but and I will open it in style. So most of the times you will using ddiv, you will do this one. So We will redo all this installation one more time. So what was the first step? We already have created a directory. Now we will just ddef and dash dash php dash version equals 8.3, and I will also remove 11 from here. But on your machines, if your ddef is the latest, you need to just leave it like this. The next step is to ddef start, and we will copy the next command also. Composer recommended Drupal project. Okay, Drupal we are able to start this, right? Then the next step is to run ddef composer require drush. So what is drush actually? Drush is a command line tool for Drupal, just like Symfony console. Drush is used to manipulate Drupal from or control your Drupal commands or operations from command line. So we will install that as well. ddef composer require drush, right? Okay, so drush 13.3 has been installed, right? So we can use Drupal commands from drush also, and we have installed it. So one of the examples of how powerful drush can be. So we installed Drupal from the graphical user interface in the previous installation type. Here we will just use. Now if you need to run drush commands, you will have to use ddef and then drush. So I will copy this. Site install command is for installing site, then account name is admin and account password is admin, and -5 means yes, install it. So rather than going into the browser to install Drupal, this command will directly install it for us using drush. So drush has been installed. Now we will just run ddef launch. So this is the new installation using brush, and that's how we will do it in our course also. I will log in admin, admin, and that's it. So what's the user, what I will log out again. Why had I to log in? You from your PHP courses, Symfony course, you know now that each site can have a user who should be only authenticated to log in. Otherwise the user remains anonymous. So the admin logs in to the system, and that's why we are able to log in using the admin credentials. Okay. So as I initially said to you, Drupal is 24 or 25 years of effort of world-class PHP developers, right? Maybe it is senior than some of you guys also. So it's a very powerful application. This is just the start screen for you. Now we will dig into what different elements of Drupal we can manipulate from the admin screens, right? And what different areas are called. All of this is known as Drupal Speak normally. So any Drupal developer will be talking to you in the context of Drupal's language, Drupal Speak. So we will start now. Firstly, let us also install PHP myadmin in ddev get ddev restart it needs. So PHP myadmin has been installed. Now we can ddev PHP myadmins to launch it. Okay, the name of the database by default in ddev is db, and if I click on it, so you can see these are a lot of tables which have been created, 75 tables in fact, right? They have been created during the installation process by Drupal. This is for install profile standard, right? So all of these tables have been created for us during the installation process. The time it took during installation, it actually was Drupal was creating these tables behind the scenes, and maybe some default values also, right? So the install script basically creates these tables which come out of the box with the standard install profile in Drupal. We'll start with the tab above. So any content which is added to Drupal lies in this tab, content menu tab, right? So content is basically the data which resides in these tables, some of these tables, and they are, for example, node. The main important table is node in Drupal, this one. So if we add any content, it will be added to this node table. Similarly, the users table. So users basically, just like we created a user admin. So admin, if I click on this users now, so you can see there are two values in it, and this is the UUID. 0 is by default anonymous user. UUID 0 means anonymous user in Drupal. Anonymous user means the user who is not logged into the system, but Drupal internally recognizes it as a 0 UID. And 1 is the admin. UID 1 is admin. And each such tables in Drupal, like node and users, it has underscore data table also. This is very important to note. If you go, the users has the main entry which creates the primary key of the record, and then users underscore data. This is that table, users underscore data. Similarly, if we go to the node table, it will also have something like that, field underscore data, right? node and node underscore field underscore data. So users also has underscore data, field underscore this one. So the main table is users and then the users underscore field underscore data, and if I browse it, you can see the 0 is that, but 1 is admin, the username is admin and the password is this, and the email is this, time zone and all of these values, when was it created, when was this changed, whatever, these values are there. It has even the status also 10, and you all know what status means, right? So this is the user table. It has created the table for us, the installation process, even the user, and even the password, hashing, everything is in place. We just need to log into the system, right? Similarly, if I create any content, that content will be added to the node table. So this is node, and node field underscore data will have the other values also. All such tables are called entities in Drupal, which saves actually the content. So there are two types of entities. One, some are called content entities, like these, users and content, and others are called config entities, configuration entities. Okay, so we'll learn about those later on, but you just need to for now know that there are two types of entities, basically content entities and configuration entities. Okay, so I was going to discuss about the menu types. So this is content, this is structure, this is appearance, this is extend, this is configuration, people, reports, and help. So all of these we will study. If I come to content, so this one right now we don't have any content in the site. We only have users. And where are users in Drupal? In the people content tab. This is people. So if you need to check who the users are on your system, they will be inside the people tab. So if I click on people, right now we have just admin user. So for example, I am the admin, that's why I can see this add user button. So if I click on add user, so for example, I am going to add another user, maybe afaq at drupal.com. Username is afaq, password is afaq, and this is that value for status, basically. If you want to block him or active while adding it, you can add different users also, roles also, content editor and administrator, and you can see I cannot uncheck or check this authenticated user role. So any user who logs into Drupal, by default Drupal gives it a role which is authenticated. So any user who can log into the system gets an authenticated user by default. You can upload the picture, settings, and time zone is maybe Karachi, and that's it. And I will create a new account. So new account for afaq has been created. If I go to the users table now, maybe if it's data, just so you can see user 2 is afaq, and it has also a password and all this, right? So you don't need to create any CRUD. Already Drupal has done that for you, so you can create users here. Okay, now if I come to people again, so you can see there are permissions and roles and role settings also. So if I come to roles, by default there are these 4 roles: anonymous user, authenticated user, content editor, and administrator. So anonymous user is the one that with the ID 0, okay, who does not log into the system. He accesses the system as a logged out user. So Drupal basically knows that user as anonymous user. Then the authenticated user is he who logs into the system. So any logged in user will have this role given by the Drupal system. And then these two are for special users who can do any stuff. So you can also create another role, any role. So for example, this site is for a university, so I can give a teacher role also, create a teacher role, right? And then add a role student. So two separate roles have been created. Now if I go to the people tab again, and we have Afaq, I want to give Afaq the role of student, for example. So now he will have an extra role, right? So Afaq now is a student. Got it? This must be very simple now, because you have done all of this in custom PHP. And if I come to the database, and you can see user roles is a table. So Afaq's ID is 2, and he has a role of target, is student. If I also give Afaq maybe the teacher role, so let us see how that table behaves, right? If I refresh it, so, and this is one-to-many relationship,
Yes, sir.
right? So the second row is same ID 2, and teacher is 2 is also teacher, 2 is also student. Got it? Okay, you may be noticing this entity underscore ID, so that's what the next topic is. What are entities? We already have briefly discussed what entities are, but I will open the document, and here I will type something about entities, and this is very important to know. Okay, so you already have touched entities in PHP and Symfony. Where has it disappeared? Okay. Okay, so what are entities in Drupal? Entities in Drupal or any other systems, particularly in Drupal, they are database tables. Against these entities, they are stored in database tables. And if I go to the database, there are all these tables, okay, but all of them are not entities. Only those and by the way, this is content entity. So for example, users, this is an entity. Taxonomy, term data is an entity, and we will know about them as well. Node is an entity, right? And comments are entities mainly. Files are entities. Do we have files? Yes, files. And we have not installed media at the moment, so maybe if that is installed, media is an entity. Different entities are there, but not all tables are entities. So there is something in Drupal called entity API. So those tables which are created through entity API, those tables, I will always define entities in Drupal as these. So those tables which are created using entity API in Drupal are called entities, right? So by default, normally you have nodes, which is content. It is also called content. Users, taxonomy, terms, term data, internally it is called, and comments, files. Even if we install media. So, and if you install other Drupal modules, you will get other entities also. So entities are basically two types. One is content entities, and other one is configuration entities, and both of them are almost similarly dealt using the entity API, but these are basically content entities. We will know about configuration entities later on. Okay, so content entities are users, nodes, users, taxonomy terms, comments, files, media, and so on when Drupal installs. So we already have touched a bit about users. Now we will come to the nodes. Okay, but before going into the nodes, each content entity type. So for example, if I ask you what is node, you can say it is a content entity type. Content entity type. Similarly, if I ask you what is users, so you can say this is also a content entity type, right? Then each entity type, this is a bit confusing but very important for your Drupal careers. Okay, so each entity type can have bundles or subtypes. All of these names are used, and in nodes, and in the case of nodes, they are called content types. So each entity type can have bundles. Now if I ask you create a bundle for nodes, so what it will be? It will be content types. Content types. So each entity type can have subtypes or bundles, or in nodes case it is called content types. Similarly, taxonomy terms. So there are vocabulary and vocabulary types, and we'll know about them. Similarly, comments can have multiple types, files, and so on. Some entities are not allowed to have types. I will just give you an example of what nodes is. Okay, I'll open the Drupal code. You don't need to touch it, but just for your concepts, if I go to core, okay, by the way, we will also study about all these folder structures of this Drupal, but for now, if I go to core and then to core modules, and then it is node. Okay, node. So node has, and now you also know what is SRC folder. So source and then the entity folder, it has a node.php. So each entity type in Drupal will have this structure: source, entity, and that entity name.php. Okay. Similarly, if I go to users, this is user. So user will have SRC folder and the entity folder, and there will be a user.php. Okay, so we have opened and where is node? So if I open node, source, node.php, and go to the files, so you can see, remember the attributes in PHP. So this is an attribute. It will start with the content entity type, right? So as I said, there are different content entity types. So this is one of them. Its ID is this. So this is the name of the entity type. The label is content. So the internally it is called node, but from your user interface it will be content. Okay, what are the entity keys? So ID, NID. NID is in the table, and so but internally entity API will know it as ID. If just like if I ask you grab me the NID of the table, right, the content, so internally you will just use ID. Behind the scenes this mapping happens, and it knows that NID is going to be the ID of it. So bundle is type. The bundle property in the table is type. Label, title, language, code is this, UID, and so on. Handlers, what are the edit, links, delete form, path is this. These are all those routes, right? So for example, if I ask you what is the edit form of node, so it is node %node. So it will be node 10 edit, something like this. Similarly, delete form is node 10 delete, and canonical, this is that slug concept. So node slash 10 will be a record. So we can quickly create it, even it has all this metadata. What is the base table? So the base table is node. What should be the base table for users? It's users, right? So you can yourself go through this and know about what entities is. So if any table which is created reading this metadata by the entity API, that is known as entity. Not every table in the Drupal database is an entity. Okay, so that's the very important concept. Now I will go to the site again, this one, and if I go to content, and there are by default two types of content. If I click on add content, so the content is article and basic page. So what are they? As I said, the subtypes are called content types or bundles. So these are the bundles of node type. Article is a bundle and basic page is a bundle. Yes. Or in nodes sense, it is called, these are called content types also. So normally in Drupal, a Drupal developer will ask you to create a content type. So basically he will ask you to create a content type based on these, right? A content type, and it will appear here. So by default, when Drupal is installed, we have two types of content. They are article and basic page. Any guesses how can these be, and why are these different? I mean, what will be causing, what has caused these two types to be different? That's my question. Why are these different? We can just add content and a form will appear, but now we have two types of content because of the fields, difference of fields. So this is a rule. If you have entirely different fields in two, you need for two content types, you need a separate content type for that. So for example, if I go to add content and article, so it has title field, image field, body field, 3 fields, and tags field. These are 4 fields. But if I go to basic page, so it's just title, body, and that's it. So we have 2 extra fields in article, and in the basic page we just have 2 fields. These are different number of fields and types of fields. There the need for a different content type appears. Okay, so if I add this basic page now, mission to popularize Drupal in, okay, so this is the mission of the, and I will save it. Before saving it, to the right these are menu settings also. So for example, you are going to add this page, mission to popularize, and you want it to appear in the menu also. So if I click on it, the title is mission, and parent menu is the parent link is main navigation is whatever 0. Wait, I will explain what wait is. URL alias, did you study slug the other day in Symfony? Yes. So if I add it without URL alias, let me just add it. Authoring information, who the author is, by default admin is chosen. Author on, this created, and this is promoted to front page, means this article should show up on the front page also if I check it, otherwise no, and just save it. For now I'll just save it. So you can see the path is node/1. Okay, so mission has been created and the path is going to be, where is it? Why am I not able to? Okay, once you create all the content, so if you go to the content, that appears here, that is shown in this view. In Drupal it is called view. This listing is called view. So you can edit a content or delete it or whatever. Okay, so the mission is this. Now previously the path was, if I go to mission, it is node/1. You can see node/1. But if I edit it and go to URL alias, and I can make it /mission and save. So you can see now the path is /mission. So this is for search engine optimization, or maybe pretty URLs, right? Okay, if you go to a page, you can see these tabs: edit and delete and revisions and whatever, right? So why are they visible? Because I'm logged in as administrator. But if I log out, these tabs will not be visible. These tabs will not be visible. Okay, so we also gave parent provide a menu link mission, right? If I go to the home page now, so here you can see this is the mission tab. If I click on it, we will end up on the mission tab. Okay, this is the menu setting for content. We can add any link here, and I will add another one: add content, basic page, and this is vision, and this is vision of the site, right? And this will be provide a menu link, but I'm not going to give this link from here because I want to show you something else, and I will save it. So now the second page is vision, and this is the vision. And by the way, if you go to database, and which table will have these values? Node. Very good. So node table, if I go, it has two values, and the type is page, means the content type is page. And if you go to the code, if you remember here, the type is, the bundle is type. So it means what the bundle type will be, this value in the database. Okay, so this has been added, and what there is no title here and body. Good, excellent. So if I go to the DB again and go to the node field data table, this is, so you can see the title is mission and vision, and all the stuff is here. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we don't have the vision menu link here, so we can directly go to the menus. So if I go to structure, and structure, by the way, is for data modeling type of stuff in Drupal. So if I go to structure and then menus, there is this setting, menus, right? So in the menus, this is the main navigation, the top one. There are different menu types. Each menu type will have its own links. So this is main menu navigation. So if I edit and list, so you can see we have right now two elements here. So I want to add another link also, which is going to be vision. So add link, it is vision, and the link is /node/2. Node/2 is vision, right? And save. So if you go to content now, back to site, and here you can have that link also. If I click on it, vision is there. I want to make the vision the second link and this one as the first. So what I will do, you can directly go to structure menus from here. So edit, configure block, remove block, or edit menu. So this one is edit menu. Here we can just drag it above and save. So now vision is on the second. If you had to do this in custom PHP, you would have to write a lot of code. Just what we have so far studied, you would have to spend a few days at least, and then there would be bugs and security bugs and all these. But this is a fresh Drupal installation, and you are able to do a lot through it. Okay, so one type of content we have added is basic page. Now I want to add some articles. Okay, so as I said, normally if you need to differentiate between the two content types, that will be on the basis of fields. So for example, we need extra fields, we go to article, add content, and now I want to add article. So article is research about malaria, for example, whatever, and I can upload anything, any image. So we can upload any image. I had created a journals folder the other day, if you remember. So we can, it was in the download section, journals. And even the alt tag is asked for you, and then we can have anything in the body. Let us go to lorem ipsum. Then the tags are for what purpose? Tags are for categorization. So for example, this article is about malaria, right? So we will choose malaria here, and this is known as in Drupal autocomplete field. What? Autocomplete. So first time there is no malaria, and if I am saving it, it will let me save malaria, right? For example, if I save it now, research about malaria, and this file also has been uploaded, and you know how to upload files. Yes, and Drupal automatically has done this for you. But in the tags now there is malaria, right? But if I want to add another article now, and this is new inventions in malaria. Now this is also about malaria, right? So if I just press M now, this is auto, so malaria will appear, right? What do you think is the structure of this tags field? The structure, categories. So how can we do table structure? How are they linking it? Because you know PHP now, custom PHP, huh?
The article ID goes to the category table.
Yeah, through junction table. Well done. Is this one-to-one or one-to-many relationship? One-to-many. Rather, according to me, it is one-to-many. One-to-many, right? So, for example, this is also related to malaria as well as, again, comma and inventions, right? So this is another category. Next time if I want to add something, if I press I, the inventions will appear. So these are two entities, categories. If I save it, so it is now in two categories, right? And even these are clickable. So what you have learned in custom PHP, these are category coming from the category table. Yes. So normally we need to have a category table. Yes. And then the article table is node table, and then a junction table, which will mean which article belongs to which category. So all of that has been done for you automatically by Drupal, right? So this malaria and inventions, this is that content entity type of called taxonomy. So taxonomy terms basically. Okay. So how are they saved in that inside the Drupal graphical user interface, and then I will show them to you in database also. So if I go to structure and then you come to taxonomy, so by default there is one type which is tags. This is equivalent to creating a category table for you. So for example, you have created a category table and you have named it tags. So this parent term is known as vocabulary in Drupal. Okay, so we can have multiple vocabularies. For example, I can, if this is going to be a department, university website, so we can have departments categories also. So the top level is known as vocabulary. This difference you should know. This is vocabulary, and it can have then terms. So for example, I want to add terms. add term, so computer science department, just computer science, and by the default, if you are adding a new tag, because Drupal knows that you will be adding more than one tag normally. So if you go to the URL, you can see admin structure taxonomy manage departments add, right? So at the top it is department, so it is again and again letting you add departments now. Chemistry and save. Then biology department, bio engineering, right, and save. So what we have done, if you go to taxonomy and departments and list terms, so these are the 4 categories in. So you have created you can say in custom PHP, always try to compare Drupal with your custom PHP so that your basics are strong. So you have created 2 tables in custom PHP. One is known as tags. It has what values we added to tags, by the way? Invention in malaria. I think internet is down. So if I go to taxonomy and tags, so you can take it as a bucket. Taxonomy is the whole system. And then we have 2 buckets or containers or tables from custom PHP logic you had. So tags, if I list them, so it has 2 types of tags, inventions and malaria, right? And if I go to departments, taxonomy, departments, list terms, so these are the departments for. So for example, even if I have to create a new one for locations, for example, so what we can do is, tell me it has to be a separate table. So what should I do? I will create a vocabulary first. So add vocabulary will be location, right? And this is such a powerful system. For example, I want to create locations for the whole of the world. Okay, so I will first create a term. I will call it world. Maybe you can do it for Mars also, Jupiter also, but I will do it for world, right? Save. So top level now is world, and then there are continents, right? So Asia, and then Europe, Africa, Australia, America, Australia, North America. Okay, here the relation field is, I was skipping it in the first few. So here you can choose where should this be under. So North America should be under word, because top level is inside it is going to be the word. Save. And South America. It's also going to be inside the word. Save. Okay, if others I have not given the hierarchy, right? So if I go to the locations list terms, you can see inside the word these 2 are there, but I can easily drag them inside the word as well. And do you remember the self-referencing we had? This is what self-referencing under the hood. So inside the word we have these continents, and I will save it, right? Okay, let us just study this structure for now inside the, because I said this is also content entity and content entity of type taxonomy. So if you go to the database and taxonomy term data table, taxonomy term data table, this one, so you can see it has all these TIDs. So the ID of the taxonomy term data is TID normally. In Drupal Speak it is TID. So TID, and what is VID? what is VID? Vocabulary ID, right? So from here you can know what the vocabularies are, right? And then this UUID means each ID has a unique ID, UUID also. It will always be unique inside this database. Okay, so if I go to the term data, this was term data, and then the term taxonomy term parent. Okay, this is that table which lets you know which category is under which category, right? So you can see the bundle is tags, departments. These are the vocabulary. Basically, you know what bundle is. Subtype of an entity type. So the type is taxonomy, so subtype will be bundle. So the parent ID is, it has 7 in it, all of these. Why? This ID, entity ID 8 has 7 parent, this 9 is 7, 10 is 7. It means this 7 is the word actually. And if I add a new a country inside, for example Asia, what should I do? I'll add a new term Pakistan, for example, right? And the relation will be Asia, and save. And then India, same relation is going to be Asia, and save, right? If I come to list locations, list terms, so you can see now inside Asia it is India and Pakistan, right? If I add a city in India, for example Kolkata, and the relation will be India, and save. And if I add Karachi, and the relation will be Pakistan. Now if we refresh the table in this term parent table in the so you can see 8, 8, 5, 15, 14. So they have different parents, right? So all of this is that self-referencing concept, but Drupal has made it very easy for you. It will just show you, it will give you this, all of this, right? Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay, so one thing you might have noted, that structure, taxonomy, tags. If I come to list terms, we didn't add them from here, add terms. From here did we add it?
Article content.
So what can be the logic? If I add content again, for example I'm adding article, and this is going to be influence of cancer in
This article can have multiple categorizations.
adults. Okay, so influence of adults, and if I add cancer here, okay, if I add cancer here, it will be added where? Inside this. So what can you guess from it? While the article is being submitted, this auto tag field, what it does, if there is this field is not available, if this tag is not available, it will create it, and create it inside what? The tags vocabulary. So it will be 2 insert statements, and then the ID will be referred in this field, if you know of what I am talking about. So if it is not there, it will create it, but if it is there, it will just select it. So for example inventions, if I select invention, so you can see even the ID is shown with it, it will select it, but if it not there, it will create it. So this is known as auto tagging field or auto tag field. But you can create directly all the entries here. So for example cancer is being created now, and if I save it, and if I refresh, if I create article now, if I just see, so cancer is now available. So there are even look at the ID. The ID is 18 now. Why? Because we created other terms also in departments and all of these. This is logical division. The primary key is basically of all the taxonomy terms. But we have logically divided them into these three vocabularies. Internally, they are all the primary keys from the taxonomy term data table. This one. I think again the internet is down. To taxonomy term data table now. So these are all the TIDs. TIDs mean term ID, and though they are now divided into three separate vocabularies: tags, departments, and location, but their IDs are basically the primary keys are from this same table. So TID 1, 2 are tags, 3, 4 are 5, 6 are departments, and then 7 is locations. Location does not start with 1 again, because all of this data is coming from the same table. Okay. So we now have three vocabularies: location, and over time, once your site is healthy enough, there will be a lot of vocabularies also. Okay, now if I add some content, title, body, and tag. So this tags field, basically, if you think over it from the custom PHP concept, so you will have to create this field and then select all from the tags vocabulary, and those values will appear here. In fact, in the drop down also. Okay, so if I want to change this into a drop down field, what I can do is, if I go to structure, so if you need to change the structure of something or the nature of your forms and something like this, so you will always go to the structure tab. And I'm again sorry because internet is down. Let me change it to okay, it's fine now. So if I go to structure and content types, remember this is not adding content. Adding content is from the content tab. This is structure, content types. So I will come to content types, and the one which is we want to change the nature of a field, so we'll click on manage fields. Okay, so in the manage fields tab, this is that tags field, and you can see right now it is if I go to the manage form display, now I can go from here to the manage form display, and here if I come to tags, the style is autocomplete. Autocomplete means if it is available, it will select show us, otherwise it will create a new one. So if we will change it to select list, just one click and save. Now if I go to content, add content, article, so you can see it is now a select list. You can choose any of these or multiple also. Is this clear? Also there can be one more thing. If I go to structure, content types, basic manage fields of the articles, and then the form display, and here if I go to manage fields and edit it, so now allow multiple number of values are unlimited, like more than one tag can be selected here. But if I want to have just one tag, right now it will show me that there are values in the database, that's why I'm not going to change it. But from start we can choose one value also. Okay, that's it. Now if I come to add content article again, so I want to select the departments we have selected. Department, for example, the department, a field for a similar field which is a select menu but for department, so the department can also be selected. So what would you do in custom PHP? You will create a select menu field, select data from the departments, loop through the values and create a field, and then once the article is saved, what it will do, it will save the ID of that department into a junction table, and the article of this ID, both of them will be there in the junction table, right? So let us do that exercise now. So as I said, whenever you have to change the nature of fields or the nature of forms, you will have to go to structure and then that particular types, which is content types, right? So I will go to manage fields here in the article, and what I will do, because now the need is to create a new field, so it will be create a new field. And what type of field it is going to be? It is going to be an entity reference field, and the reference field is this. Whenever you are going to refer another entity, so you are right now on article type, right? But you want to reference a taxonomy entity, so you will have to create a field of type reference. And what this field will do, this field will actually create a junction table. Internally it will create a junction table, and all the processing will be automatically done. So the reference will be, where continue, I will call it department. Remember, this field is being created inside the articles content type. So the department is going to be this, and the machine name is going to be field underscore department. So each field has a label, which is the user visible field label, and then there is the machine name also. So inside the database, that will be the value of department, but it is going to be a table. I will show you how. Okay, so which entity, now you can even know from here the entity types. So content, user, or taxonomy term, which one we should use? Taxonomy. Continue. Okay, is it going to be a limited one field or unlimited? You can choose. If this all depends upon you. If a value belongs to, if an article belongs to more than one department, so you can make it unlimited, otherwise limited. So we will leave it as limited for now, so that only one article belongs to one department, but we can make it unlimited also. For now I will leave it as limited. You can choose help text, please select the department. Okay, so as this is a reference field, which type it will select? Department. So it will only choose, this is that option, select all from department, so that in the select menu you only get these values, and save. So the field has been created, and that field is field underscore department, right? So if I go to content now, add content, article, so title, and you can see here it is the departments. If I A, maybe B for biology, so this is going to be biology. Similarly chemistry, and so on, right? If I need to change the nature of this field, where I will have to go to again? Structure, because I want to make it select menu. So structure, content types, and basic page, manage fields, and in the department I will go to the manage form display. There are two types of displays. We will know about displays also, but manage form display means here the field type is, this is department, autocomplete, so we will change it to select list and save it. So if I go to add content again, article, and here now the department is whatever. If I need to choose chemistry, so for example, let me chemical reactions is an article, and this will be lorem ipsum or whatever. It is cancer, and the department is chemistry, right? And I save it. So can you tell me what will be saved inside the, okay, let me just save it first. So you can see the department is chemistry and cancer is the tag. Is this clear? So the ID is 5. The article which we just saved is 5, right? And if I click on chemistry, it is 4, 5 and 4. So in the junction table, what will be there? 5 will be the article ID and 4 will be the department ID, the taxonomy ID or whatever. So all of this has been done for us automatically. So how is it saving it? If I go to this subject table, so where was the field created? Field was created on the article content type for department. Okay, and remember the taxonomy was already created. We don't need to create the table for taxonomy, but the junction table was needed, right? So if you go to article node is basically article, right? So it will have the if you remember the name of the machine name of the if I go to content types, article manage fields, so the machine name, this is the machine name. Okay, so the machine name of the field we created, what is this? Is this article?
Not in this side.
Okay, this is that the first side, sorry. So structure, content types, article manage fields. So you can see this is that department field we created, and the machine name is field underscore department. Field underscore department. If I come here and with that machine name, there will be a table now. You will be surprised a bit that rather than a column name, there is a table name. But because this is a very powerful system, Drupal creates a new table, and that table is this node field department, and this is that junction table. So can you tell me before clicking this what will be there? There will be the article ID and the category ID as a junction. So this is that junction table which automatically has been created. It looks from Drupal's point of view, it is field, but internally it creates a separate table. Okay, so if I click on it, so the bundle is what? Where has it been created? Article. And the entity ID is means the node ID 5, and the target ID means the taxonomy ID 4. So 5 and 4 basically are the values needed to join the two tables, right? And what is delta? If there are more than one value, so the first one will be 0, the second one will be 1, 2, and so on, right? We will talk about revision later on, but for now the most important one. And if I just query this table, select all from this, select entity ID and entity underscore ID comma field underscore department ID from this. So you can see entity ID and target ID means, and if you rename the columns, so it will be node ID and taxonomy ID. So this 5 article belongs to 4 category, right? I will just leave it as this, and I will create another article. Add content article, and this one will be advancements in influenza treatment, right? So the department is going to be, for example, biology for some reason, right? And I save it. Notice the ID of the article is 6 node/6. By default, once you save an article, a node, it redirects you to that page. So the node article is 6, and the biology article ID is 5. So what do you expect here if I refresh the page?
Entity ID will be 6 and the taxonomy ID will be 5.
Good. So if I refresh it, where is refresh? Browse. Okay, so it's 6 and 5. So you know the concept now. So any new field in Drupal, any new field which it creates in a content type or entity type, it basically creates a junction table behind the scenes. Okay, and where will what data it will save? The ID of the field where the field lies, of the entity where the field lies, and the target entity means the one it is referring. So the ID of the departments. Okay, so what we have studied, we studied how to create junction tables, and that is done via fields in. So it brings us to some more concepts. I will, because there are a lot of things to cover, so I will go to a content type again, structure, content types. So the content types basically are subtypes or bundles or content types of which entity? Node entity. So it has two subtypes or bundles now. One is article and another is basic page. If I go to the manage fields here, these are the fields. Okay, so Drupal has a subsystem called field API. You can Google about it. Field API in Drupal. Field API, right? This is field API, and this is a very powerful system with Drupal. Just like entities, field API is also a very powerful system. So inside entities we can have fields, and those fields are controlled by something called field API. So you can, what field API does for you, it can create new fields for you of these separate types. Okay, it can create fields for you. Then it can create these fields for you. What else it can do? It can it can control displays of how the field will look. So that is done via form display. So for example, you have these 5 fields right now in the article content type. So how should they look to the user? So that is controlled by the manage form display. So if you remember, we changed the department from tags to select list. So if you need to change the look and feel of the form, you will have to come to where? Manage display, manage form display. That's very important to note. And then there are thousands of modules, extra modules. Extra module is extra functionality in Drupal, which gives you separate types of these fields also. And then so these two are very important. Manage fields lets you add extra fields. Manage form display gives you the control of how the form should look. And how is that done? It is done through the widget setting. This is the widget setting. So if I ask you form display widget, what would it mean? You will have to come to the manage form display and change widgets here. For example, from select list to tags and all of these, right? And if I Google, so for example, if I go to Drupal form widget, something like this, if I drupal.org/project/modules. Okay, Drupal core is what you download from the Drupal site. Okay, Drupal core. But what are modules? Modules provide extra functionalities to Drupal which are not there in the core. So there are right now 52,959 extra such modules available on drupal.org/project/modules, which you can download. So if I search module categories, so inside the module categories, site structure maybe, and if I just search here field widget, right? So there are 596 such modules which appear in these search items, and if I text area for text fields. Let me just give you an example of what a field widget is. Okay, so this is color field. Okay, what does this module do? And by the way, any module shows you the site the reported site installs for that particular module. So this module has been downloaded, installed 52,705 times, but only if somebody a user reports it that I have used this module, then it is logged. There will be thousands of users who don't report the usage of modules, but you can just know the usage of modules from here. So this is a module which is color field, and in its description you can see widgets. So right now if I go to manage form display, right now how many widgets are there by default when Drupal install? 4, right? Now let us install this new module, color field, and you have a composer path for it. This you can copy it from here. And where should we run this composer command? Terminal. Very good. So ddef and this. So what it will do is it will download this module for us. And if I come to, after a module has been downloaded, if you go to the extend, and here you will have that module here somewhere with unchecked status. This is color field module, field types, right? Even the categories field types, you will know what field type is. So color field and install. This has been installed. Now each module has its own target area where it shows that it has been installed. So if I come to the form display and refresh the page, just for your knowledge, what is the widget? Each field has its own widget type. Each field has its own widget type, right? So we will have to create a new widget field now. So where should we go to? Content types, article, manage fields, and I will create a new field and I will call it, and this color field now, this was not there before. This has come through this module. So I will choose color and continue. Maybe for example background color, I will have to use it as background color. Continue. And limited value, record opacity, set value, save setting. Okay. Now manage form display. This color field background will have these 5 types of widgets. Each field has its corresponding widget types, and where the widget type is inside the manage form display. So I can change any of it. For example, color default or color boxes. Let us leave it as color default for now and save. So if I come to article, so it will have, this is the background color, whatever, this is default value, right? But if I change it now, manage fields, background, manage form display, you will get used to it once you are into a week of Drupal, hopefully. So the color default, now I want it to be color grid, for example, and each setting can have sub setting here in fields. I will leave them as default and save. So if now I come to add article and I will change it. First one, content types. Here is the color field, background color, yes, and form display, widget, color grid, okay, color HTML5, save, content, add content. So you have the color pickle now. This is the default HTML5. Those widgets may require maybe some other extra libraries or whatever, but you can know what this field does. So internally this will save the color to the database. But widget basically is how your form field should look like. Okay. Now there is one need for me. For example, this is I'm again and again going to add content 2 clicks. Now if I have to click on article, this is the third click, right? So it's a bit cumbersome. So Drupal admin menu, this is for Drupal 7, but admin toolbar. So this is admin toolbar module, right, for Drupal 11. And by the way, this shows it for which version. So 11 is there, 10, 11, 9. I will copy this Drupal admin toolbar and install it also. ddev this. So when do we install modules? If the code does not have some functionality, so other contributors have made contribution, we can install those modules into the code. Okay, so the module has been downloaded. Now it needs to be enabled. Just the download will not do it for us. So we will copy the name of the module. We can directly do it via Drush. So ddev Drush en this -y admin toolbar. So directly, rather than going to the extend screen, you can through Drush enable a module. So the module has been enabled. Now hopefully if I refresh the page, some things will have changed, and you can see there are drop downs now. So if I go to content structure, you can directly come to structure and so on, right? So if I come to content, back to site, content, comments, structure, for example, configuration has a lot of stuff you can rather than, and if you go to the configuration and admin, how to go admin toolbar, so it lets you choose how many levels you can go to this. But why am I not able to do it this? Okay, if you go to structure menus, let me try, and this is the main menu, is the administrative task list. Okay, inside the content we have just comments, right? So we need to add articles also to the comment section. How can we do it? Add content, and this is article. So the path to add article is node/add/ if I click on article, it will be node/add/article. I will copy this, come to the structure, menus, administration, edit menu. I will create a new link and bring it inside the content. So the add link, the title will be add article, and the link should be this node/add/article and enabled. Now it will be maybe somewhere add article, this one. So if I will move it inside the content and save. So if we come here, now we have add article, and we can quickly come to the add article now. So you can create your links like this also. Okay, is this clear now? What a widget is and what a manage form structure. Okay, we can come now to structure, content types, and here we will have, so you can create a link for manage display of the content type also in the. So how can we do it? Manage fields. So this is the manage fields of what? The article content type. So I can copy the path, content structure, content types. So if we go to structure, menus, administrator menu, links, and this is a structure, right? Add child, here we call it article structure, we will call it article structure, right? And the link is this. Admin structure, types, manage article and fields, and save. So if you know structure, this is article structure, article structure. So you can quickly go to the manage fields of article structure, right? Is this clear? Okay, what is manage display? We have studied manage fields, where we will have to add extra fields to a content type. What is form display? How the form should look like. Okay, one thing I forgot. For example, this is, I'm going to add article. So title is at the top, and then image, and then body. I want to move the image to the last. So we will come to the manage form display of the article, and we will drag the image to the last, maybe after the background color, and save. So now if we refresh the page, article will be at the, field will be at the last. Just as I said, compare it with your custom code. What would you do? Copy the field for the form inside the code, and then move it. Maybe you miss some tags or whatever, but here cleanly it has been. And even you can hide, for example, the image is there, but I don't want to show it for some reason. So what you can do is, you can just drag to the disabled region. That's it. You can drag the field to the disabled region and save it. So now, though the field has the article field, but the image field has gone now. Okay, you can programmatically do also this. If the logged in user is this, with role this, show him the image, otherwise hide it. So internally this will be happening. Is this clear? Now let us go back to the content types managed, because I need to tell you about all the basics of Drupal. That's why we need to spend time on it. This may become quickly boring, but there is a lot to cover. So again, the repetition. Manage field is for creating extra fields. Manage form display is to how the display of forms element should be. And what is manage display? Manage display means how the content saved from this form, or the content of this entity type, should be visible to the user. Okay, how the content should be visible. So if we go to the content, as I said, all the content which has been added to the site lies here, right? So if I click on, for example, maybe the research about malaria article, this is known as node page. Okay, the path is node/something, node/id. So the 3 number id is the research about malaria. This is the whole, you can see this is select all from article, where id is 3. So the top is at the top is article, then there is this image, and then the body, and then the text. So what is this? This is, and then the comments. So this is the manage display screen of the jurisdiction of manage display screen of the article. So just like manage form display, we will come to manage display. So this is the default view. By default, it is the node view is under this view mode. This is known as view mode. The concept is view mode. I will explain it in a while. But for now, the image is at the top, body is the second one, then the tags and links. So what I will do is, I will move the image at the bottom. Image at the bottom, right? And save it. So if I refresh, the image was in the second spot, right? So if I refresh it, where it will be now? It will be at the last. If I have to move the tags after if I have to move tags after the image, so what I will do, I'll move it like this, right, and save. And also there are labels. For example, the tags right now, it will be, if I refresh, it is after the image now, but there are tags written in it. This is the label of the field by default. Even so, if you want to hide it in the manage display, we will just hide it. And visually hidden means it will be hidden via CSS, but crawlers will know it. It will be in the markup actually, visually hidden, and save. So now the label will be gone. This label will be gone. If I ask you in Drupal quiz, for example, on the node view, so node, what is node view? As I said, it's node slash id. Any content type with node slash 3 page or 5 page, that means node view page. It is also called entity view page. Entity view page of taxonomy will be taxonomy term slash id. If taxonomy, the entity view page of user will be user slash something. Okay, so if I ask you, there is a label with malaria, which is a tag on the node view page of Drupal. So what? How can I hide it? So where I will have to go, manage display of that particular content type, and hide it from there. Is this clear? So we have covered a lot of stuff in the content type sections. And what are those? Again, field, manage fields, manage form display, manage display, and if you go to permission, manage permissions. So what are permissions? There are roles, and then there are permissions. So for example, this is inside the node section and the permission. We can go to the permissions from people also, but from the content type setting page, you can directly come to the node section. And then, for example, if you want a teacher to create article, what you will do? Give the teacher the role, the teacher to, and if teacher can only create it, but he cannot delete it, then we can leave this one unchecked, right? And similarly, edit on article, any article, and save. So I will save permission. Now if I log out, maybe we have a user who is teacher also. Afaq is teacher, I think. Let me give him a password of 123456. 23456. Afaq is teacher also. So if Afaq logs in, if I log out as administrator, one more thing, this is a heavy admin menu, okay? But if I log out, where is the logout section? Maybe here.
Admin shortcut.
Okay, if I go back to side, here is the logout. Okay, so now we are logged out. So I don't see the admin toolbar now. Why? Because I'm not admin, and we cannot. Yeah. So if I click on login and I log in with Afaq 3456. So Afaq now has logged in, but still Afaq cannot see anything else because he has very limited permissions and privileges. But he can do one thing, and that is he can add articles, right? And from where we can give him this, if you remember the path, so it is node slash add slash article. So this form appears to him. But if I log out, log in as admin, and I create a new user. How to add users? People. Good. Manage people, add new user, and for example Shahab at drupal.com. Username is Shahab, password is 123456 123456, and I will make him a student right now. Okay, so create new account, that's it. Now if I log out, login as Shahab 123456 3456. Shahab has logged in, and he also is not able to see the admin menu, but if he goes to the node/add/article, so access denied, he cannot access this page because he is not logged in. He has no permission, sorry. He is logged in, but he does not have the permission to add article. So in a Drupal site, if I log in now as admin again, and again I will urge you to compare it with custom PHP. What hurdles you had to do all this in your code? Was it easy? No, and now it is just the matter of one checkbox. Okay, if you go to people again, this is people, and you can directly go to permissions also. So if you go to permissions, these are all the permissions in Drupal, and the node section is where we have done the setting. So if you come to the node section, by now you should know what node is. So all the permissions related to node is here. So for example, create new content, so we gave it to teacher. Edit any content, delete any content, so you can give the node specific permissions here. Similarly, the basic page and all of these. Is this clear? So you can give what these settings are. Okay. Now as you move on your requirements, maybe you have needs for to add some student data. Okay, so you in custom PHP, if I ask you to add content of student record, for example, so what would you do, Umar? Yeah, to create a table for student and then ID, name, and all of those things, right? So here let us have a requirement for student data. So what we'll do is, if you go to add content, so right now, or maybe structure, content types, so right now we have these two types, article and basic page. Basic article has two fields, background color, body, comments, department. None of these serve our purpose. And similarly, the basic page has just one field, body, and title by default comes with every field, content type default. So we have just two content types, and it does not, these does not do not serve the purpose. So what we can do is, we can create a new content type. You have to understand this structure, content types, and here we have add content type. Just like you will create a table, so in Drupal what you will do, you will create a new content type, not content type. So add content type, and the name will be student. And just like in Symfony or custom PHP, you will create an entity, here you will have to create a content type, right? So it's a student, and what should be the name of it? Maybe we will not call it a title, but we will call it name. Preview before submitting, there is an option for preview also. If you add a form and you want to know how would it look, so you can make it required, otherwise disable or optional. So optional is fine. Publishing options, should the article be published, the student be published once he submits it, So by default it is published, so yes, it will be published. We don't want it to be promoted to the front page, it should not be visible on the front page. We don't want a revision right now. Display settings, there is normally on the node page a setting for who submitted the article, for example node or whatever, so we can uncheck it. And menu setting, for now we will leave it as it is, but main thing was the name of the content type is student, and what should its title field be, label be name, and we will save and manage fields. So you can see, if we come to content types now we have a student content type also, right? And we will add, because we now want to add extra fields to it, so we will go to manage fields and create a new field, and again you are on this beautiful list of fields. So for name, the field is already there because the title fields are native to any content type you create. You cannot remove it because it is primary, it is part of the main base table and should not be empty. That's why the articles are there. But father name, I want to create a field which is father name, so it will be a plain text. Continue, I'll call it father name, text plain means no HTML should be inside it, bold or italic or whatever. So continue, and do you want to make it required? Yes, and save settings. So you have created a father name field. The next is date of birth. So date of birth is date and time, this one. Continue, DOB, we call it DOB, date, and continue, and we'll make it required as well. So now we have two fields, DOB and father name. Create new field, qualification or what, maybe location, address, yes, address. So address is a text area. Where is text area? Formatted text, and I will call it address. By the way, there is address field module also. So text formatted, text long, and save. It's going to be basic HTML, for example, and save. So we have now three fields. Okay, there can be boolean fields also, yes no field. So for example, create new field, and it is going to be boolean. This is the boolean field. Label is domicile, yes no. For example, if a student does not have domicile yet, so he will choose no, otherwise yes. And on label is on, this required, and save. So for now these four fields are enough. If I go to content and add content, and we have the student now. So name, father name, date of birth, address, and domicile. So if domicile is this, it means he has the domicile, otherwise not. So you can enter the data now. Name is Jawad, father name is Kamal, and date of birth, even we can go to the granular. Address is house number this and that, and the domicile is yes, and save. So you have added the record without writing a single line of code. You have created the form, and you have data inside the database now. So we'll continue with this because we have got a lot to cover. This is we'll continue after the break. Thank you. Come after the break. So we have added one student, and we can add more students also. One question, for example, if I have right now, if I go to content, add content, student, so name, father name, date of birth, address, domicile. If I want to add some more fields into it, for example, qualification or something like this, metric, from where did he do his metric and so on. So what should I do?
To go to a structure and then content type.
Go to structure, content types, and
then
manage
select
fields.
the manage fields.
Manage fields. That's your instinct in Drupal. It should be okay. Anytime you want to add extra fields, you can do so. Okay, one more thing we have not yet studied what reuse an existing field is. So per type, for example, we are adding extra fields, but if any other field is on some other content type, we can reuse that into this one. For example, if I click on reuse an existing file field, so all those fields which are on other types, it even shows this. For example, background, if I need this background field, background color field, so it is single value field and it is used in where article, so I can reuse it here as well. And similarly, if I need field department, rather I should reuse the department field, so I will reuse it, and then you can set things up here, which vocabulary, departments, and that's it. So now the same field which was there in article is now inside student also. So if I go to add content and let us create quickly a link for student also. So if I go to structure, menus, and it should be one thing you can be easily disguised to just click add menu link, but this is something else. This is creating a new menu. For example, I need a menu, a list of links inside footer, so I will click on add menu. But if I need to add extra items to the already existing menu, so I will go to add link here from, right? So for example, add student is going to be the link I want, maybe just student. The path should be, it should normally be add /content/student, right? And save. So we have added it, and if I drag it inside the content, so, and save it, if you go back to the site, this is content, so here we have student. Okay, it add content student. Let us check what the path of the content type is. So content, add content, and it is node/add/student, node/add/student. So maybe we have added the wrong path. So structure, menus, and edit menu, edit, add content, node/add/student, and save it. Now if I go to content student, so we are ending up our student, and we have the department field here as well. Okay, is this clear?
Yes.
Let us also check other field types: structure, content types, manage fields. For example, I just click on create new field. So what types of fields we have? So one is file upload, right? We can upload files through it. Boolean, we have email fields, comments, link field is very interesting. For example, link to your social media profile. Okay, so we can create that field as well here. Let us create this field quickly. And selection list is just text based field which is not referencing any other content. Similarly, number, formatted text, reference we have studied. And again, I've said it to you that there are thousands of other such modules also which add extra field types here, right? So if I click on link, now will be social media links, so social media profiles. So maybe it is going to be a multiple field, right? And I will make it unlimited. and these are the form field settings, right? So I'll save them. Now if you go to content, add student, so you can see we have one very important and very powerful feature is, for example, I have to give my Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter account details here. So let us create a new student, and his name will be, for example, Wasim. Department is chemistry, father name is Jabbar, date of birth is whatever. Address is this, domicile yes, and then I will add some links. So for example, this is http facebook.com/Wasim, and the link text will be Facebook. So now there is this button, because we made it unlimited, so add another item, and it is why Ajax creates a new form element for this. So Twitter, and this should be URL, so twitter.com/Wasim, and this one will be Twitter. Add another item, it will be LinkedIn, http://Wasim, and here it will be LinkedIn. So now we have added 3 separate links and all of these, and I will save it. So if you come here, you can see these links, and if I click on any of them, they will go to the respective links. So with just one field type, you are able to add extra fields, link fields, right? And again, this will have created and let me show you the database entry which this field might have done. So the first rule is, if you want to check how it has added data, if you go to content types, manage fields of the student, so this is going to be the machine name of the table it creates, because it is multi-value. So we'll social media profiles. So if you go to the DB and social media, where it will be node slash, okay, so node slash social media, this one is right, okay. So if you open it, you can see there are 3 records in. Why? Because 3 elements were added to it. One is URI, one is title, and then these are the options. And there is this delta field. What does this mean? Delta means the order of the entry inside junction table. Okay, so if for example I want the Twitter to be at the top, so what I will do, I will change these values here. Right, I will change the delta value for Twitter to be 0, and for Facebook it will become 1. But if I go to the front end in the database, if I go to structure content, and this is Wasim, edit it. So for example, I want to make the Twitter on the top. So actually behind the scenes what will happen, the delta will change. I will drag it here. So now Twitter is on the top and Wasim is on the second position, and you have unsaved changes. So now I just need to save it, and if I go to browse again, so you can see the order has changed. If I ask you to do it in custom PHP for me, would it be easy or tough? Tough. So please thank Drupal. Okay, so I hope you got the concept. And even here you can see the entity ID. Entity ID means add. Which entity ID? It will be node, and the bundle is student.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we will continue. If we have some project to make, we will use and create different fields in it. Now we will move on to other topics in Drupal, which are very important. Again, they fall under the term Drupal Speak. Okay, so far we have been creating users and taxonomies and nodes. So these are three content entity types, right? But we have not touched one more type, which is blocks. So if I go to structure, and before block I will go to appearance. This is appearance, and this design basically has come because of the model we installed, which was for the menu, ease of menu. Okay, so now menu is on the left side. Yes. So if I go to appearance, so it shows us different themes in Drupal which might have been installed. So by default right now it is this one, installed themes. It is Olivro. Olivro is the default theme in which we are. Then for administration it is Claro. So if you come down to the page, here you can see the admin theme is different than the front end theme. So this is the look and feel of this design is different. But if we go to back to side, this is the front end theme. This is different than the back end theme. And but if I edit something, so then you can see the design changes. This is because for front end the theme is different, and for back end the theme is different. Okay, so if you go to appearance again, and in any theme, for example here, if I come to settings, and let me just get this off. So you can change settings here. For example, if you want to upload a logo in the theme, and utilities, primary branding. For example, if I need to change the color for this, so primary colors can be changed. I can just change it to some pink, and if I go back, so now the design is pink. Not all themes has this functionality, but if it is there, we can change the look and feel of our theme from the appearance. But something related to the themes is, if I go to structure, block layout. So this is very important concept, and so the block layout is per theme. And what are blocks? I will demonstrate block regions. If you click on this for Olivro, so all these yellow lines here show different areas in the template theme where we can place blocks. So block is some small text which we can place anywhere in these regions. These are known as regions. These yellow ones are known as regions, and here we can place some small text which are known as blocks. So how is a page different than a block? A page has a path here, for example node/1/2/3, but the blocks are small text which you can place on some page. Okay, so for example, this is sidebar 1 and this is social bar. These are two regions here. Similarly, the content below is a region. The footer has top and bottom, two regions, right? So now we will create two blocks and we will place them on certain region, in a certain region, for example in sidebar, right? So block again is a entity, but it does not have its own page. We can go to structure, block types. Just like content types, we have block types. So this is basic block. We can create multiple different types of blocks. But if I go to block layout and maybe just block layout, basic block, and here, hold on, if I go to content and then blocks, if I go to content, by default content is nodes. This tab is nodes. But if I go to blocks, so here you can see add content block. So block is not of type node, but it has its own entity. It is its own entity and it stores its own data. So I will add content block, and the block description is For example, this is a school website, so we will open admission open, and here I will type write something admissions or open in Mardam campus, for example, right? And I will save, just save. So it has added a block. It is not a page now, it is a block. Okay, so a block is a small piece of text which does not have its own page. So what the next step is, we will go to manage structure, block layout, and here we are in the Olivro theme, the front end theme is Olivro, right? So in the sidebar, this is the sidebar to the right. So I will place block, and then you will have a library of blocks here. So we will just search for the one you created, which is admissions open, this one, and the category is content block. It is its own entity type. So I will admissions open, place block, and we'll come back to this again and save block. So you can see in the sidebar admission open has been added, and save blocks. If I come to content now, back to site, you can see on the right there is this admission open block. Is this clear? So this is not it does not have its own page, but a page is assisted by custom blocks. Any blocks you can place them anywhere on the page. Now for example, even from here, if you click on this pencil icon, if I configure block and I want to move it to the footer region, so the region is sidebar here, but if I move it to footer bottom, it will go to the bottom of the page here, admissions open, with just one click. Just compare it with custom PHP. So what would you do? Cut, copy, paste, and then Umar will forget some tags also, maybe. Is this clear? Okay, now we have, for example, I want it to show only on the front page, not on other pages. So what I can do, I will just edit it, configure block again. So you can see the visibility, it has a whole lot of setting here. You can see visibility. So pages, response status, you already know what they are, but I'm not going to mess with them. The roles, which user, content type, which content type page, vocabulary, on which vocabulary you want to see it, all of these settings you can make here. But for now, in the pages section, I will make it to show only on maybe front page. So for front page, there is a setting of this less than front this. So we will add, this means the token front page. So this block will now only show on front page, and even you can have multiple one per line characters, right? So I want also it on node/3, whatever is node 3, I want to show this admission form there also. So you just specified on which page you want to show it, so you can specify different pages. And even if a page has path like this, for example, I want it to show on all node pages, so /all, so it will then appear on all of the pages. But for now I will just leave it on front page and node/3 and save. So if I come to the home page, it is node 8, so if I come down, it is not visible here. But if we go to nodes, what was it, node 3 or 2? 3. Node 3, so you can see admission open is here. And if you go to the home page, so it is also available on the home page. Is this clear? Okay, you can also, if I go now to, and you can have hundreds of such blocks on your Drupal site. If I configure it again, and even you can specify roles. So for example, if I want it to be available only for teachers, so you can specify the teacher role, and so on. Is this clear?
Yes.
And then there are modules which add extra visibility settings also, so you can do a lot. Okay, now I want, for example, image based blocks. Right now, if we go to the block types, so we have just by default basic block, and as it is also entity, and this is known as fieldable entity. Fieldable entity is that in which Drupal allows you to create fields. So blocks is also a fieldable entity, and if I go to manage fields of the basic blocks, so right now it has just the body field. I will now create a new block type. Again, this is not creating a block, it is creating a block type. Just like we created the student content type, we will create here a block type for images. So add block, and I will call it image. Just image is fine for now, so that I can upload some image with it, and save and manage fields. So by default it has the body field. I will delete the body field because I don't need any body field, but I will create a new field, and that is going to be image field for file upload. And by the way, this used to be the go-to way of adding file uploads in Drupal previously, but now it is in core. There is media module. What? Media module. So if I go to extend any new module, if you want to enable, you will have to go to the extend section, and in the core section there is media and media. Where it is? Okay, if you are not able to find something, so you can just filter here media. So media and media library. These are two extra modules which are in core. Core means when you initially downloaded Drupal, so you just install them. And if I go to structure, block types, and image block type, which we just created, and now we will create a new field, and field will be of type media. Here, this is the media file. This is a very powerful module, the media, and I will call it image. Continue. And image, the media can be of various types: audio, document, video, remote video, and so on. So I will make it image and save. So now I have created a field, but just one image field is not, it's not meaningful to just upload an image. So normally on an image there is a link, you might have seen. So if I click on image, it will land upon some page, something like this. For example, admission open image, some graphic, and if somebody clicks on that graphic, it will open the admissions open page. So what we will do? Any guesses? Which type of field needs to be here? Link. Very good. So create new field, and it will be link. Continue, and URL. We will call it URL or anything, and save settings. So we have now image and URL. So if I create a block type now, a block. So structure, rather if you go to content blocks, add content block, and which one? The image one. And I will call it maybe seminar on research, or anything you can call it. And now I will add media. So media means you can upload a file, or you can select a pre-existing one. So I will upload this one, save. So it gets added to the media database or library. Yes. Yes. So insert, and now which link should it go to once this image is clicked? Yes. So that's why we have created the link field. So for example, it is node/2 for now, and can be any external link also. And we'll go to admissions page and so on. Save, and we can click on save and configure also. It means directly you can go to that screen, and you can choose. Maybe in the sidebar I want to show this block. Save. That's it. Directly it has added it to the sidebar. Now if I go to back to site, so you can see there is this on the sidebar, and go to admission page, but there is this. Basically with this I needed to show you some power of Drupal. So as I had said, if I see something and there is this label image, I don't want it here.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, I don't want the URL. So from where I will do it?
Sir, manage field and then disable it. Yes, sir.
Manage display of it.
Manage display field.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
and of which content, of which entity type? The block type.
Block.
Good.
Yes, sir.
So if I go to
Disable it.
structure, and such changes are done in structure, right?
Yes, sir.
Block types, image, and we can go to manage display. Manage display, and these are the labels.
Yes, sir.
I will
Hidden.
and this one is also going to be hidden, and save.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you refresh it, or it already has been refreshed, so you can see those labels have gone.
Yes, sir.
Now the next thing is I need to show this link, this image link functionality on the image. Now image is not clickable.
Yes, sir.
Image is not clickable, but the field is shown differently. So the next step is to make it automatically clickable, and this link will be hidden then.
Yes.
So these are some tricks we need to make. So if we go again, I will go to structure, block types, image, manage display. Okay, so this is something we need to do now. And one thing I forgot to mention last time, and that was, just like in manage form display we have widgets, how the form fields should look like. Similarly, in manage display there is an important concept of format, and internally it is called field formatter. Programmatically inside the code it is field formatter. So if you ask, if a Drupal guy lets you know, if he asks you about go to field formatter of a particular field, so he would mean these settings.
Yes, sir.
And you can create, there are different modules which can create different field formatters for you. Automatically they will be then appearing here, right?
Yes, sir.
So here what I want to do is show the image. This is the rendered entity format for the image media image field, but this link should not be visible. It should actually be, when the image is clicked, that link should be active. So for this we have a module. Maybe there are better ways of it also, but I have used this one, linked field Drupal. Linked field, I think this is that module if I'm not wrong. Yes, so okay, this does not seem to have the 11 version. Because a long time ago I had used this. Link this field, destination is this. Okay, let's do is this one, copy, and I will go to div. This is perfect example of if something is not there in code, you can have extra modules for those. And there is even a proverb or a saying in Drupal word, and there is a module for that. For example, somebody will be asking, yeah, I need to do this, and somebody who is some knowledge of Drupal, he will say, oh, there is a module for that. Now, for example, if somebody asks you, yeah, I need to give link to this image, and then you will say, oh, there is a module for that, right? The next field, the next step is to div brush en and this module linked field. So once you download it via composer, the next step is to enable it. You can enable a module from extend screen also, or directly from Drush. Okay, so the module has been enabled, and again I will say each module has its own target area. So if this is linked field module, means somewhere here in the field interface you will have its functionality, not everywhere else. Okay, so if I refresh the page, and here maybe this, so now this is link this field.
Yes, sir.
This checkbox, like this module only has created this checkbox. Okay,
Yes,
so I will click on this, which field? URL field.
yes, sir.
You have the URL field, and advanced means open in new tab, so underscore blank if you want to, blank, right, and update. So now we have linked this field to which field? This field,
This field, yes, sir.
and save. And do you think we need this field now?
No, sir.
No, so we can move it to the disabled. Look, Drupal is so natural, like it lets you do natural things in web development. Like we need it to link the field, but then at the same time we need to hide it as well. So both the functionalities are there.
Same time, yes.
If I go back to the site, hopefully it will have a link, and link is going to admission or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Got it? So just with a few steps you have created a system where you can have such functionality. Now I just need to create another block. For example, in the footer I'll go to content blocks, add content block image, and admissions, open, and add media. You can select this, or you can upload a new one. Save, insert, and the URL should be, for example, this is going to be some external link, cnn.com, and the link should be anything. And save and configure will end me up on the
Yes, sir.
region
Yes.
configuration page as well. So I want it also on the sidebar, for example, and save. So back to site. Now you have two blocks,
Yes, sir.
and both of them are linked to, and this is going to be external, and it is going to cnn.com.
CNN.com, yes.
Got it? Okay, now the concept of view modes. What are view modes? So right now these two blocks are shown in the same style, but for example, in one of the if requirement is that we need to show the image, the link also with some of them.
Yes.
Like right now we have hidden the image, the links, but maybe if you are asked to show the link also, so what will you do then? Any idea?
So go to the content,
uh, blocks.
blocks.
Will I create a new block type, right, which has a link and image,
No, so we will go to the same.
the same. So this is not good content architecture. If for example just to show a link I will have to create another block type. For example, I'll go to manage, structure, block types. So I can easily create a new block type here, and I will call it image with link, for example.
Yes.
But I already have it, and it has two fields. The fields won't change. It will have the same image and URL field, right?
Yes, sir.
So if I have to create another type just for this purpose, that the link should be shown, this is not good structure as far as Drupal standards are concerned. So what we need? We need a way to output, to differentiate the output of a particular entity, rather than if we have separate fields, more fields, then it makes sense to create a new type.
Yes.
But if the fields are the same and just we need to show them differently, in those scenarios we will go to manage display, and here we need to have some system, and that is called, and this is very powerful as well, something called view modes. What? View modes. View modes means that how should you display your entity? So you can have 5 or 6 different view modes of the same content in Drupal, and you can choose them while according to the requirement. So for example, here I am on the manage display screen right now, and I need to create a new view mode. So view mode is, if somebody asks you what is view mode is creating a new style of display for a particular entity type. And in Drupal 7 it used to be a separate module, but now it is in core. If I go to structure, and here they are called, from interface they are called display modes, but internally they are view modes. Okay, so I click on display modes, and there are two types, both are in core. One is form modes. We'll study form modes differently, but right now it is view modes. So if I click on view modes, and even here on the screen you can know what entities are. So this one is for content, means for nodes. This one is for content block, right now it is full, which is just one. This one is for comment, this is media, this is taxonomy term, user. So you can see what the entities are. So for each entity type you can have some display modes or view modes. So here this is where we need it, right? Content block. So I will add view mode for content block, and the name of it will be maybe image with link. Okay, this is just the name of the view mode, and for which block type you need it? Image. These are bundles. Okay, and save. So a view mode has been created and it is now available here. You can edit it or delete it or whatever. So this has been created. Where will it be visible according to you? As I said, everything is natural in Drupal. If you have some logic, you should know this is a view mode. So for a content type or entity type, it should be there in the manage display.
Yes, sir.
Somewhere in the manage display.
Yes, sir.
So if you go to the block types, image and manage display, not form display.
Yes, sir.
So you can see now the default is this one. Previously, if there is just one view mode, that won't be shown. But if view modes are more than one, then the second one will be shown. So this one is image with display, right?
Yes, sir.
So here, as I said, I don't want to show the image, the link in the first one, the default one. But now image with link, I want to show the link also.
Yes, sir.
Like this, and save. So if the block entry is of this view mode, if we select this view mode, it will show it with the link. Otherwise, in default, it will not show it.
Yes,
It will only be linked. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
So if we go to the site now, this here, we need to specify something to choose the view mode. Okay, so if I edit it, there is no field here where I can choose which view mode should it display in.
Yes, sir.
Right now it is showing it as in the default view mode. So for that, there is a module, view mode switcher Drupal. View mode switch field, and as you can see, we'll copy this today. Composer require Drupal view mode switch, and this is a field module. So now my question to you is, where will it be visible to us?
Manage display.
It is field before manage display, because this is going to help us add extra content. So it should be in manage fields first, right? So now if I we need to enable it also in Drupal. Sorry, did en and this. Okay, so if I go to structure, block types, manage fields of image. Now we need to have one extra field here, and that new field will be view mode switch. Now this was not previously available. With the installation of this module, this is now available. And continue, and we will just use it as view mode. Continue, and we will choose full here. So with the new view mode image with link, now this full is basically the view mode. The block will be in. So from this we will change to image with link. That's the setting we needed to make. So from this full we will have to switch to image with link. So by default every block will now be in full mode, but if it is in full mode we want to change it to image with link and save settings. Now if you go to the site, so these are the two blocks we have. So let us change the first one so that we are also able to see the link with it. So if I edit it, and if you choose view block, view mode, image with link and save, so now we are able to see the link also. So this one is not without this one is without link, and this one is with the link, and this was only possible because of the view mode we have switched to. And if you go to block types and image manage display, this is that image with link, and the URL is visible for this one, and in the default, which is now the full one, the URL is hidden. That's how you can have the same entity bundle like we have for images. If you go to manage fields, so we have the same fields, image and URL, and we added the view mode switcher field to it, but the displays can be different. If you go to the manage display, and here there can be more than one type of display with different settings. For example, in image with link, now we are showing the URL. Maybe in some other view mode, if you create it from structure display modes, so we can create view modes from here. For example, here we can have image with or maybe just link and no image, something like this. So it all depends upon your data structure and what you want to hide or show. So we studied a lot in the first lecture, mostly the Drupal Speak, and we will continue it in the next lecture also. So we created content type student, we added some fields to the article content type, we learned about what view modes are and how to switch view modes. We also added blocks to different regions. There will be a lot tomorrow as well. See you then.